Part 1. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Living-ology, our little intellectual sanctuary where we turn ordinary life knowledge into something a bit more polished. Life knowledge plus, if you will. Tonight is our 4th session, course code Y1W04, and we're diving into the world of art and aesthetics. Now, before we start, let me ask you a quick question. How many of you have stood in front of a modern art piece, a big canvas splashed with random colors, maybe a pile of everyday objects, and thought, is this really art? Am I just not cultured enough to get it? Be honest, I won't judge. I've seen even seasoned art critics stare at a conceptual piece like a confused cat staring at a cucumber. It's okay. That confusion is the perfect starting point for tonight. Tonight, we're not here to turn you into art historians or gallery curators. We're here to demystify this whole art and aesthetics thing, to make it feel like a warm cup of herbal tea rather than a stiff glass of vintage wine you're supposed to pretend to enjoy. And yes, since sleep is the silent struggle of so many of us, whether it's scrolling through your phone till 2 a.m. or lying awake replaying the day's awkward moments, we're gonna weave this all together with calm, gentle thoughts. By the end, you'll not only know a bit more about why art matters, but you'll also be ready to drift off peacefully, your mind a little lighter, your perspective a little broader. Let me lay out our roadmap for tonight's structure as our friend, especially when we're aiming for relaxation, right? First, we'll unpack what art and aesthetics actually are, breaking down the big theories with small, relatable stories, and busting the most common myths that make people feel like they don't get it. Second, we'll take a gentle stroll through the history of art and aesthetics, not as a boring timeline, but as a series of conversations humanity has been having with itself about beauty and meaning. Third, we'll tie it all to the present, talking about viral art trends, social media's impact on our taste, and even a little quiz to make you reflect on your own aesthetic habits. Fourth, we'll land back in your daily life, sharing simple, no-effort aesthetic tricks to calm your mind before bed, and a few thoughts on where aesthetics might be heading in the years to come. Let's start with the basics. What is aesthetics, anyway? If you Google it, you'll get a definition like the branch of philosophy concerned with beauty and taste, especially in art. But let's translate that from textbook speak to human speak. Aesthetics is simply the study of what makes us feel something when we look at, listen to, or experience something. It's why a sunset over the Mediterranean feels different from a neon sign in a city alley. It's why a Bach sonata calms your nerves while a heavy metal track might pump you up. Aesthetics isn't about being pretty, it's about understanding the why behind our emotional responses to the world around us. Scholars from institutions like Harvard's Department of Philosophy and the Sorbonne's Art History program have been picking apart this why for centuries. Let's start with the ancient Greeks. They loved a good debate about beauty. Plato, that wise old philosopher, thought art was just a copy of a copy. He believed there was an ideal form of everything, the perfect tree, the perfect human, the perfect sunset, and art was just a pale imitation of that ideal. So, if you painted a tree, Plato would say, nice try. But it's not the real ideal tree, so it's second-rate. Aristotle, his student, disagreed, bless him, always challenging the teacher. Aristotle argued that art doesn't just copy nature, it elevates it. It takes the messy, imperfect, real world and distills it into something that reveals the truth of a thing. A painting of a tree, to Aristotle, could show the tree's essence, its strength, its fragility, better than the real tree standing in front of you. That's the mimetic theory, or the imitation theory, and it dominated Western thought for over 1,000 years. Jump ahead to the 18th and 19th centuries, and things shifted. Suddenly, art wasn't about copying nature anymore, it was about expressing emotion. This is the expression theory, and it's why we have paintings like Van Gogh's Starry Night or Beethoven's symphonies. These works don't look or sound like the real world, they feel like it. Van Gogh didn't paint the night sky as it was. He painted it as he felt it, chaotic, vibrant, full of longing. The University of Oxford's 2019 study on emotional responses to art found that this shift from imitation to expression is when art started to feel personal to the masses. Before, art was for churches and kings. Now, it could be for anyone who'd ever felt a strong emotion. Fast forward to today, and art is even more fluid. We have digital art, NFTs, performance art, things that don't fit neatly into either imitation or expression. But here's the through line. According to a 2023 paper from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Media Lab, art is always about human connection. It's a way for us to say, This is how I see the world. Do you see it too? That's why your Instagram feed with its filtered photos, carefully curated captions, is a form of art. You're not just sharing a picture, you're sharing a piece of your perspective, your taste, your soul. It's not as highbrow as a painting in the Louvre, but it's art all the same. Now, let's bust some myths, because myths are the enemies of both understanding and relaxation. Myth number 1, art has to be highbrow to be real. Oh, please. Tell that to the street artists in Paris who turn subway walls into masterpieces, or the TikTokers who make incredible sculptures out of recycled plastic bottles. The Tate Modern in London, one of the world's most prestigious art galleries, regularly features exhibitions by amateur artists, people who never went to art school but create work that makes us feel something. Art isn't about where it's displayed or how much it costs. It's about the feeling it evokes. A child's drawing of their family is just as much art as a Rembrandt portrait, maybe more, because of the raw emotion behind it. Myth number 2, you're either born with good taste or you're not. Baloney. Taste is like a muscle. You don't have to be born with a six-pack to build one. A 2022 study from Stanford University's psychology department found that aesthetic taste is 70% nurture and 30% nature. It's about exposure, not genetics. If you grew up surrounded by classical music, you might lean toward that. If you grew up with your parents' rock collection, that's your baseline. But you can expand your taste. It's like food. If you only eat pizza, you might think you don't like sushi, but that's just because you haven't tried good sushi. The same goes for art. Spend 10 minutes a day looking at a different style of painting, listening to a new genre of music, and slowly your taste will grow. It's not about being right, it's about being open. Myth number 3, you need to know all the fancy terms to appreciate art. Let's be real, dude. You need to know the difference between Impressionism and Post-Impressionism to enjoy a Monet. No. Do you need to understand deconstructionism to love a Frank Gehry building? Absolutely not. Art critics love their jargon. It makes them feel important, like they're part of a secret club. But here's the truth. The best art doesn't need an explanation. I once stood in front of Monet's Water Lilies at the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, and I didn't know a single thing about his technique or his life. I just felt calm, like I was floating in that pond, surrounded by light and color. That's the point. Aesthetics is about feeling, not vocabulary. It's like eating a delicious meal. You don't need to know the chef's secret recipe to savor every bite. Myth number 4, aesthetics is useless. It doesn't pay the bills. The usefulness myth. We live in a world that values productivity above all else, where everything needs ROI, return on investment. But some of the most important things in life are useless in the best way. Love is useless. Joy is useless. Beauty is useless. And yet, can you imagine a life without them? A 2021 study from the University of Copenhagen found that people who engage with art regularly have 23% lower levels of anxiety and 18% better sleep quality than those who don't. That's a pretty good ROI if you ask me. Aesthetics doesn't put money in your bank account, but it puts peace in your soul. It turns a mundane day into something meaningful. It gives you a break from the noise of to-do lists and deadlines. That's not useless, that's essential. Let's tie this back to sleep, shall we? So many of us struggle to fall asleep because our minds are racing. We're rehashing arguments, worrying about tomorrow, scrolling through news that stresses us out. Aesthetics gives us a way to hit pause. When you look at a beautiful painting, listen to soft music, or even just light a candle with a gentle scent, you're telling your brain, it's okay to relax. Right now, nothing matters but this moment. It's like a mental reset button. The University of California, Berkeley, did a study on this a few years ago. They had a group of people with insomnia spend 20 minutes before bed looking at art, and another group scrolled through their phones. The art group fell asleep 15 minutes faster on average and had better quality sleep. Why? Because art engages the part of our brain that's calm and reflective, not the part that's anxious and overactive. Now, let's do a little mental exercise. Nothing stressful, just a way to start engaging your aesthetic sense. Close your eyes for a second, just a second, no pressure. Think of something small that you found beautiful today. It could be a flower on your walk, the way the light hit your coffee cup, a song that made you smile. Hold that image in your mind. Notice how it makes you feel calm, happy, nostalgic. That's your aesthetic sense at work. You don't need to analyze it. You just need to feel it. That's the power of aesthetics. It's not about big, grand things. It's about the small, quiet moments that make life feel worth living. As we move into the next part, I want you to keep that feeling with you. We're going to talk about the history of art and aesthetics, but we're going to do it like we're sitting in a cozy cafe, sipping coffee or tea, if that's your thing, and chatting about old stories. No dates to memorize, no names to remember, just the ideas, the feelings, the way humanity has been chasing beauty for thousands of years. And remember, if your eyes start to feel heavy, that's okay. This is as much about relaxation as it is about learning. Let's take it slow, breathe deeply, and let the stories unfold. Let's start with the ancient Greeks, because where else do we start with Western thought? The Greeks were obsessed with balance and harmony. They thought beauty was about proportion, about things fitting together just right. The Parthenon, that iconic temple in Athens, is a perfect example. The columns aren't perfectly straight, they're slightly curved, which makes them look straighter from a distance. The roof slopes just enough to catch the light. Every detail was calculated to create a sense of balance. To the Greeks, this wasn't just architecture, it was a reflection of the order of the universe. They believed that beauty and truth were one and the same. A beautiful thing was a true thing, and a true thing was a beautiful thing. Then came the Middle Ages, roughly from the 5th to the 15th century. During this time, Christianity dominated Western culture, and art became a tool for storytelling, specifically Bible stories. Most people couldn't read, so churches used paintings, sculptures, and stained glass windows to teach them about God and faith. The art was simple, almost flat, no perspective, no realistic proportions. The goal wasn't to be beautiful in the Greek sense, it was to be sacred. The colors were rich, deep blues, vibrant reds. Gold leaf too make the scenes feel otherworldly. If you've ever stood inside a Gothic cathedral like Notre Dame in Paris before the fire, of course, you know that feeling. The light streaming through the stained glass, the massive sculptures towering above you. It's not about balance. It's about, it's meant to make you feel small, humble, connected to something bigger than yourself. Then, the Renaissance happened and everything changed. The Renaissance, which means rebirth, was a time when people rediscovered the art and philosophy of ancient Greece and Rome. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael started focusing on realism, again but with a twist. They didn't just copy nature. They studied it. Leonardo spent hours dissecting human bodies to understand how muscles and bones worked. Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel ceiling with figures that looked like they could step off the wall. The Renaissance artists believed that humans were the center of the universe, not God, not nature. This is humanism, and it revolutionized art. For the first time in centuries, art was about people, their beauty, their emotions, their potential. Let's talk about Leonardo for a second, because he's not just a painter. He's a poster child for curiosity. His notebooks, which were discovered centuries after his death, are filled with sketches of everything from flying machines to anatomical drawings to paintings. He once said, "Art is never finished, only abandoned." That's such a beautiful way to think about it. Art, like life, is a process, not a product. His most famous painting, the Mona Lisa, isn't famous because it's perfect. It's famous because of the mystery in her smile. Is she happy? Is she sad? We'll never know. And that's the point. Great art doesn't give us all the answers. It makes us ask questions. It invites us to lean in, to wonder, to connect. Moving on to the 17th and 18th centuries, we have the Baroque and Rococo periods. Baroque art is dramatic, think dark colors, dramatic lighting, lots of movement. It's like a soap opera in paint. Artists like Caravaggio used a technique called chiaroscuro, contrasts between light and dark, to create tension and drama. Baroque art was popular with the Catholic Church and wealthy nobles who wanted art that showed off their power and piety. Then came Rococo Lighter area, more playful, pastel colors, soft curves, scenes of wealthy people having a good time. It's like Baroque's younger, more fashionable cousin. Rococo was popular in France during the reign of Louis XV, and it reflected the luxury and excess of the French aristocracy before the Revolution. Now, let's jump to the 19th century, when art started to rebel. The Impressionists Manet, Renoir, Degas got tired of painting in studios, following all the rules. They wanted to paint the world as they saw it, quick, fleeting moments of light and color. Monet painted the same haystack over and over again at different times of day, just to capture how the light changed. Renoir painted people dancing, eating, laughing, ordinary moments made beautiful. The art establishment hated them. They called their work unfinished, messy impressions rather than real paintings, hence the name Impressionism. But the Impressionists didn't care. They held their own exhibitions outside the official art shows, and slowly people started to get it. The Impressionists taught us that beauty is everywhere, not just in churches and palaces, but in a sunset, a cafe, a walk in the park. The 20th century was a wild ride for art. We had Post-Impressionism, Van Gogh, Gauguin, Cubism, Picasso, Braque, Surrealism, Dali, Magritte, Abstract Expressionism, Pollock, Rothko, the list goes on. Each movement was a reaction to the one before it, a way of pushing boundaries, asking, what is art anyway? Picasso's Les Demoiselles d'Avignon is a perfect example. He broke the rules of perspective, painted faces from multiple angles, and shocked the art world. But what he was really doing was challenging us to see the world differently. Surrealism, with its dreamlike images, Dali's melting clocks, Magritte's the treachery of images, this is not a pipe, played with our perceptions, making us question what's real and what's imagined. One of my favorite art movements of the 20th century is Abstract Expressionism, specifically the work of Mark Rothko. His paintings are just large blocks of color, no figures, no landscapes, no stories. But stand in front of one and you'll feel something. Rothko once said, "I'm not interested in color, I'm interested in emotion." He wanted his paintings to be like a religious experience, quiet, intimate, overwhelming. I've stood in front of a Rothko at the MoMA in New York, and I swear, time stopped. I didn't think about anything else. I just felt. That's the power of abstract art. It strips away all the noise and leaves you with the pure emotion. Now, let's talk about some key theories that shaped 20th century aesthetics. First, Walter Benjamin's The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction. Benjamin, a German philosopher, wrote this essay in 1936 and is still relevant today. He argued that when art is reproduced via prints, photos, movies, it loses its aura, that unique, magical quality of the original. But he also thought this was a good thing. It made art accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy few who could afford to visit a gallery. Today, with digital reproductions, social media, online galleries, NFTS's idea is more relevant than ever. A Van Gogh painting might be locked in a museum, but you can pull up a photo of it on your phone anytime, anywhere. Art is no longer a luxury. It's a commodity, but also a democratic tool. Another important theory is Susan Sontag's on photography. Sontag, an American writer and critic, argued that photography has changed the way we see the world. We don't just experience things, we document them. We take photos of our food, our vacations, our loved ones, and in doing so, we distance ourselves from the experience. We're too busy capturing the moment to live it. But she also saw the beauty in photography as a way to preserve memory, to share our perspective, to make the ordinary extraordinary. Think about Instagram or TikTok, billions of photos and videos, each one a tiny work of art, a snapshot of someone's life. Sontag would probably have mixed feelings about social media, but she'd recognize its power as an artistic medium. Let's pause for a second and do that little quiz I mentioned earlier. Don't worry, it's not graded, just a way to reflect on your own aesthetic habits. First question, when you're scrolling through social media, what kind of content makes you stop and look? Is it bright, colorful photos, minimalist designs, vintage aesthetics? Second question, when you buy something for your home, a pillow, a candle, a piece of art, what's the first thing you notice? Is it how it looks, how it feels, how it fits with your existing decor? Third question, do you ever avoid certain types of art or music because you think you shouldn't like them or because they're not cool? Fourth question, when was the last time you experienced art without taking a photo of it, without sharing it online, just for yourself? Take a moment to think about your answers. There are no right or wrong ones. The point is to start noticing your own tastes, your own biases, your own relationship with beauty. So many of us go through life on autopilot, consuming art and beauty without really engaging with it. This quiz is a way to hit pause, to become more mindful of how we interact with the world around us. And mindfulness, as we've talked about in previous Living-ology sessions, is key to both understanding aesthetics and getting a good night's sleep. As we wrap up this first part, let's recap. We've defined art and aesthetics as tools for human connection and emotional expression, busted some common myths that make art feel intimidating, taken a gentle tour through art history from the Greeks to the 20th century, and done a little reflection on our own aesthetic habits. We've talked about how art isn't just for the elite, how tastes can be cultivated, how aesthetics can calm our minds and improve our sleep. Now, as we move into the second part, we're going to bring it all into the present. We'll talk about the hottest art trends of the last few years, NFTs, digital art, the rise of quiet luxury, and how they're shaping our relationship with beauty. We'll explore how social media has changed our tastes, for better and for worse. We'll dive deeper into the connection between aesthetics and mental health, sharing some research from top universities on how art can reduce stress and anxiety, and we'll keep that calm, conversational tone, no jargon, no pressure, just good ideas and gentle reflections. Remember, if you're feeling relaxed, if your eyes are getting heavy, that's exactly what we want. This isn't a lecture you need to stay awake for. It's a conversation that can guide you into a peaceful sleep. So breathe deeply, let your mind wander a little, and let's keep going. The world of art and aesthetics is vast, but we're taking it one gentle step at a time. Part 2. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, we're in the middle of our Living-ology session on Art and Aesthetics course Y1W04. We've covered the basics, what art and aesthetics are, the big myths that hold us back, a quick tour through art history, and a little quiz to reflect on our own taste. Now, let's dive into the present, what's happening in the world of art and aesthetics right now, and how it affects our daily lives, our mental health, and our sleep. Let's start with the biggest art trend of the last few years, digital art and NFTs. If you've been on social media at all since 2021, you've probably heard of NFTs, non-fungible tokens. But what are they, really? Put simply, an NFT is a digital certificate of ownership for a piece of digital art. It's like a deed to a house, but for a JPEG, a video, or a piece of music. The art itself is digital, can't hang it on your wall, you can't touch it, but the NFT proves that you're the rightful owner. In 2021, Beeple's NFT Every Days, the first 5,000 days sold for $69 million at Christie's, making it one of the most expensive works of art ever sold by a living artist. That's a lot of money for a digital file, right? Now, you might be thinking, why would anyone pay that much for something they can just screenshot? That's a fair question. The answer lies in scarcity and community. In the digital world, everything is copyable. You can download a song, a photo, a video with one click. But NFTs use blockchain technology to make each piece unique. You can screenshot BPL's artwork, but you don't own the NFT, you don't have that certificate of ownership. And for many people, that ownership is part of the appeal. It's like collecting a rare stamp or a vintage, when its value comes from being one of a kind. But NFTs aren't just for wealthy collectors. Platforms like OpenSea and Rarible have made it easy for anyone to create and sell NFTs. I have a friend who's a digital artist. She paints on her IPDAN. She sold dozens of NFTs to people all over the world. For her, it's not about making millions. It's about connecting with an audience that appreciates her work. And that's the beauty of digital art. It's democratic. You don't need a gallery to show your work. You just need a computer and an internet connection. Of course, there's a dark side to NFTs. The environmental impact is a big concern. Blockchain technology uses a lot of energy. A 2022 study from the University of Cambridge found that the average NFT transaction uses as much energy as a household uses in a week. That's a lot. And there's also the issue of fraudfic, NFTs, stolen art, scams. But like any new technology, NFTs are evolving. Artists and developers are working on more sustainable blockchains, and platforms are cracking down on fraud. The future of NFTs might not be as flashy as it was in 2021, but digital art is here to stay. Another big trend is quiet luxury. If you've seen the TV show Succession, you know exactly what this is. Quiet luxury is about understated elegance, high-quality materials, simple designs, no logos. It's the opposite of logomania, where people wear head-to-toe designer brands to show off their wealth. Quiet luxury is about subtlety, an expensive cashmere sweater, a well-tailored blazer, a simple leather bag. It's for people who want to look expensive without screaming about it. This trend ties back to our growing desire for authenticity and mindfulness. A 2023 study from the Fashion Institute of Technology found that 68% of consumers prefer brands that focus on quality over quantity, and 59% say they're tired of logo culture. We're moving away from fast fashion, cheap, trendy clothes that fall apart after a few wears and toward pieces that are well-made, timeless, and reflect our personal style. Quiet luxury is about investing in pieces that last, both in terms of quality and style. It's an aesthetic that's calm, confident, and sustainable. And let's be real, quiet luxury is perfect for relaxation. Think about it. A soft cashmere sweater, a pair of well-fitted jeans, a simple pair of shoes. These clothes are comfortable, they look good, and they don't require a lot of thought. They're the sartorial equivalent of a warm cup of tea. Unlike trendy clothes, which can make you feel like you're trying too hard, quiet luxury makes you feel at ease in your own skin. And that sense of ease is key to both feeling good about yourself and getting a good night's sleep. Next, let's talk about the rise of wellness aesthetics. This is the intersection of art, design, and mental health. Think about Instagram accounts dedicated to minimalist homes, cozy reading nooks, plant-filled apartments. These aren't just pretty photos, they're a response to our stressful, chaotic lives. A 2022 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who live in spaces with clean lines, natural light, and plants have lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, than those who live in cluttered, dark spaces. Wellness aesthetics is about creating spaces that nurture our mental health. It's why so many people are into hygge, the Danish concept of coziness and contentment, or wabi-sabi, the Japanese concept of finding beauty in imperfection. These aesthetics aren't about perfection. They're about comfort.com and authenticity. A wabi-sabi home might have a chipped mug, a worn blanket, a plant that's not perfectly pruned. It's about embracing imperfection, letting go of the need to have everything just right. And that's a powerful antidote to the pressure we feel from social media to have a perfect life. Social media is a double-edged sword when it comes to aesthetics. On one hand, it's an amazing tool for discovering new art, new styles, new ideas. You can follow artists from around the world, learn about different cultures, and find inspiration in just a few swipes. On the other hand, it can be overwhelming. We're bombarded with images of perfect homes, perfect outfits, perfect lives. It's easy to compare ourselves, to feel like our own taste isn't good enough, like our lives aren't aesthetically pleasing enough. A 2023 study from the University of Michigan found that people who spend more than 2 hours a day on Instagram have higher levels of aesthetic anxiety, the fear that their lives aren't beautiful enough. That's a real thing. We're so used to seeing curated, filtered content that we start to judge our own lives by that standard. But here's the truth. The most beautiful moments in life are rarely the ones that are perfectly curated. They're the messy, unfiltered moments, the spilled coffee, the laughing until you cry, the quiet morning with a book and a cup of tea. Those moments don't make great Instagram photos, but they're the ones that make life meaningful. So how do we enjoy social media's aesthetic benefits without falling into the comparison trap? It's all about mindfulness. Be intentional about what you follow. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself, and follow accounts that inspire you, that make you feel calm, that celebrate imperfection. When you see a beautiful photo, don't think, why can't my life be like that? Think, that's lovely. How can I bring a little of that beauty into my own life, in my own way? And most importantly, remember that social media is a highlight reel. No one's life is as perfect as it looks online. Let's talk about another hot topic. Art as therapy. Art therapy has been around for decades, but it's gained a lot of traction in recent years, thanks in part to social media and the growing focus on mental health. Art therapy is a form of psychotherapy that uses art making to help people express their emotions, reduce stress, and heal from trauma. You don't need to be a good artist to benefit from it, you just need to be willing to create. A 2021 study from the American Art Therapy Association found that art therapy can reduce symptoms of depression by 30% and anxiety by 25%. It works because creating art engages the flow state, that feeling of being completely absorbed in a task where time flies by and your worries fade away. When you're painting, drawing, or even coloring in a coloring book, your brain switches from the fight or flight mode to a state of calm focus. It's like meditation, but with markers. You don't need to see a professional art therapist to experience these benefits. You can do it at home. Grab a sketchbook and some pencils and doodle for 10 minutes a day. Paint a picture with watercolors. Don't worry about how it looks. Make a collage with old magazines. The goal isn't to create a masterpiece, It's to express yourself, to let go of your worries, to be present in the moment. I have a friend who struggles with anxiety, and she swears by her nightly coloring ritual. She lights a candle, puts on soft music, and colors for 20 minutes before bed. It helps her clear her mind and fall asleep faster. That's the power of art therapy. It's accessible, it's affordable, and it works. Now, let's dive into some more academic theories that help us understand contemporary aesthetics. First, Richard Schusterman's Somesthetics. Schusterman, an American philosopher, argues that aesthetics isn't just about what we see, it's about our entire bodily experience. It's about the feel of a soft sweater against your skin, the taste of a delicious meal, the sound of rain on a window. He calls this somesthetics, the aesthetics of the body. This theory is a reaction to the traditional view of aesthetics as something purely visual, something that happens in the mind. Schusterman says that beauty is felt in the body, not just seen with the eyes. This makes perfect sense when we think about relaxation and sleep. So much of what helps us fall asleep is sensory. The feel of clean sheets, the sound of a white noise machine, the scent of lavender. These are all aesthetic experiences rooted in our bodies. Schusterman's theory reminds us that aesthetics isn't just about art galleries and museums, it's about the sensory experiences that shape our daily lives. It's about paying attention to how things feel, taste, sound, smell, not just how they look. Another important theory is everyday aesthetics, coined by philosopher Arnold Berlin. Berlin argues that beauty is not just in our tits in everyday life. It's in the way sunlight filters through leaves, the way a barista makes your coffee, the way your partner laughs. We just need to be present enough to notice it. This theory ties back to the Impressionists who found beauty in ordinary moments, but it's even more relevant today. In a world that's always rushing, always looking ahead, everyday aesthetics teaches us to slow down, to be mindful, to find beauty in the mundane. Berlin also talks about engaged aesthetics, the idea that we don't just observe beauty, we participate in it. When you cook a meal, you're not just making food, you're creating a beautiful experience. When you arrange flowers in a vase, you're not just decorating, you're engaging with beauty. When you listen to music, you're not just hearing sounds, you're participating in an emotional experience. This engaged approach to aesthetics is key to both enjoying life more and reducing stress. It's about being an active participant in your own life, not a passive observer. Let's do another little reflection exercise. Building on our earlier quiz, think about your daily routine. Where do you encounter beauty without even noticing it? Is it the way your morning coffee smells? The sound of birds outside your window? The feel of your favorite sweater? Now, think about how you can engage more deeply with those moments. Instead of drinking your coffee while scrolling through your phone, take a minute to smell it, taste it, savor it. Instead of walking past the flowers on your way to work, stop for a second to look at them, to notice their colors and shapes. These small, engaged moments of beauty can add up to a more peaceful, more fulfilling life, and better sleep. Now, let's talk about the impact of technology on our aesthetic experiences. We've already touched on digital art and social media, but let's go deeper. Virtual reality VR and augmented reality AR are changing the way we experience art. Imagine putting on a VR headset and walking through Van Gogh's Starry Night, not just looking at it, but being inside it. That's already possible. The Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam has a VR exhibition that lets visitors step into Van Gogh's paintings. It's an immersive experience that brings art to life in a way that a traditional gallery never could. AR is also transforming art. Apps like ArtGuide let you point your phone at a painting and see additional information, videos of the artist, details about the painting's history, even how the painting has changed over time. This makes art more accessible, more engaging, more interactive. It's not just for young people. Either museums around the world are using AR to attract older visitors who might be intimidated by traditional art exhibitions. But there's a downside to this digital immersion. A 2022 study from Stanford University found that while VR art experiences are more engaging, they're also more stimulating. They can overstimulate the brain, making it harder to relax. Traditional art, looking at a painting in a quiet gallery, has a calming effect, but VR art can be overwhelming. So it's all about balance. Technology can enhance our aesthetic experiences, but we still need those quiet, low-tech moments of beauty to calm our minds. Let's talk about a few important art events and exhibitions from the last few years that have shaped contemporary aesthetics. First, the the immersive Van Gogh exhibitions that popped up around the world in 2020 and 2021. These exhibitions used projection mapping to cover entire rooms with Van Gogh's paintings, creating an immersive, almost meditative experience. People flocked to them, especially during the pandemic when traditional galleries were closed. They offered a sense of escape, a way to connect with art and with others in a safe, socially distanced way. The immersive Van Gogh exhibitions proved that art doesn't have to be in a stuffy gallery to be meaningful. It can be accessible, interactive, and fun. Another important event is the rise of street art as a respected art form. Artists like Banksy have been making street art for decades, but in recent years, street art has moved from the streets to the gallery. Banksy's 2018 exhibition Girl with Balloon made headlines when the painting shredded itself after being sold at auction, renaming itself Love is in the Bin. This act of rebellion highlighted the tension between art as a commodity and art as a form of protest. Street art is important because it's accessible. It's art for the people, not just the elite. It's a way to tell stories, to protest injustice, to beautify public spaces. We should also mention the growing focus on diversity and inclusion in the art world. For too long, the art world has been dominated by white, male artists. But in recent years, there's been a push to amplify the voices of BIPOC artists, LGBTQ+ artists, women artists, and artists with disabilities. Museums like the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York and the Tate Modern in London are expanding their collections to include more diverse artists. This is changing our understanding of aesthetics, what we consider beautiful, what stories we value, whose perspectives matter. It's a welcome change, and it's making the art world richer, more vibrant, and more representative of the world we live in. As we wrap up this second part, let's recap. We've talked about the biggest art trends of the last few years in FTS, digital art, quiet, luxury, wellness, aesthetics, and how they're shaping our relationship with beauty. We've explored the double-edged sword of social media, the power of art as therapy, and important contemporary theories like somesthetics and everyday aesthetics. We've reflected on how to engage more deeply with beauty in our daily lives, and we've discussed the impact of technology and diversity on the art world. Throughout this part, we've kept coming back to one idea. Aesthetics is about connection with ourselves, connection with others, connection with the world around us. It's not about being perfect, about knowing all the right terms, about owning expensive art. It's about being present, about feeling, about finding beauty in the small, ordinary moments. And that's the key to both understanding aesthetics and getting a good night's sleep. In the third part, we're gonna look to the future. We'll predict where aesthetics is heading in the next 10 to 20 years, based on current trends, technological advances, and cultural shifts. We'll talk about the future of art, the future of taste, and how we can prepare ourselves to engage with beauty in a changing world. We'll also dive deeper into the connection between aesthetics and sleep, sharing some practical, easy to implement tips to incorporate aesthetics into your bedtime routine. And as always, we'll keep the tone calm, conversational, and full of gentle reflections. Perfect for drifting off to sleep. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's keep going. The future of aesthetics is bright, and it's full of possibilities. And whether you're wide awake, half asleep, or somewhere in between, I'm glad you're here with me, exploring this beautiful world of art and beauty. Part 3. Welcome back, everyone. We're in the third part of our Living-ology session on art and aesthetic scores Y1W04. So far, we've covered the basics of art and aesthetics, a gentle tour through history, the hottest current trends, and some important contemporary theories. Now, let's turn our attention to the future. What will art and aesthetics look like in the next 10, 20, even 50 years? How will technology, culture, and our changing relationship with the world shape our understanding of beauty? And how can we prepare ourselves to engage with aesthetics in a rapidly changing world? Let's start with the first big prediction. Aesthetics will become even more personalized and democratic. Thanks to digital technology, anyone can create art, share art, and curate their own aesthetic experience. We're already seeing this with social media, but it will only get more pronounced. Artificial intelligence, AI, will play a big role here. AI tools like DALL-E and Midjourney let anyone create a piece of art with just a few words, a prompt. You don't need to know how to draw, how to paint, how to use Photoshop. You just need an idea. This will make art creation accessible to people who've never considered themselves artists, people with disabilities, people who can't afford art supplies, people who just never had the time or opportunity to learn. But AI art also raises some big questions. who owns the art created by AI? Is it the person who wrote the prompt, the company that created the AI tool, the artist whose work the AI was trained on? These are questions that the art world, the legal system, and society as a whole will have to grapple with in the coming years. A 2023 study from the University of Oxford's Internet Institute found that 62% of artists are concerned about AI replacing human creativity, while 58% believe AI can be a tool to enhance human creativity. The truth is probably somewhere in between. AI will never replace the human emotion, the human experience, the human story that goes into art, but it will be a powerful tool opening up new possibilities for creativity. Imagine a musician with a great melody in their head but no ability to play an instrument. I can turn that melody into a full orchestral piece. Imagine a writer with a vivid scene in mind but no skill for visual art. I can bring that scene to life in a painting. That's the magic of AI as a creative collaborator, not a replacement. Another prediction: aesthetics will become more sustainable. As the world becomes more aware of the climate crisis, our aesthetic choices will reflect our commitment to sustainability. We're already seeing this with the rise of quiet luxury and the backlash against fast fashion. In the future, we'll see more sustainable art materials, recycled paper, plant-based paints, upcycled materials like old metal, broken glass, and discarded textiles. We'll see more art that addresses climate change, large-scale installations made from plastic waste pulled from the ocean, murals that highlight the beauty of endangered ecosystems, performance art that simulates the effects of rising temperatures on our planet. This art won't just be beautiful. It will be a call to action. It will make us feel the urgency of the climate crisis, not just think about it. We'll also see a shift away from the throwaway culture of art limited edition prints that end up in landfills, disposable decor that's replaced every season, to art that's durable, timeless, and eco-friendly. Imagine a sculpture made from reclaimed wood that lasts for generations, a tapestry woven from organic cotton that becomes a family heirloom. That's the future of sustainable aesthetics, beauty that doesn't cost the earth. This ties into the rise of eco-aesthetics, a growing movement that combines art, design, and environmentalism. Eco-aesthetics is about finding beauty in nature, in sustainability, in simplicity. It's about creating art that doesn't harm the planet, that celebrates the natural world, that encourages us to live in harmony with nature. A 2022 study from the University of California, Santa Barbara, found that exposure to eco-aesthetic art can increase people's willingness to take environmental action by 40%. That's a powerful impact. Art has always been a catalyst for change, from the anti-war posters of the 1960s to the feminist art of the 1980s, and in the future, it will be a key tool in the fight against climate change. It will help us grieve the loss of biodiversity, celebrate the beauty of what we still have, and inspire us to protect it for future generations. Third prediction: aesthetics will become more cross-cultural. In a globalized world where we're more connected than ever before, our tastes will become more diverse. We'll see more fusion of different cultural aesthetics: Japanese minimalism mixed with African textile patterns, European classical architecture blended with Latin American mural art, Indian henna designs reimagined as digital art for social media. This cross-cultural exchange won't be about appropriating other cultures' art. It will be about collaborating, about learning from each other, about creating something new that honors the traditions of all involved. Imagine a fashion collection designed by a Japanese designer and a Nigerian designer, combining the clean lines of Japanese kimonos with the vibrant colors and embroidery of Nigerian Yoruba attire. Imagine a music album that blends the meditative sounds of Chinese guzheng with the rhythmic beats of Jamaican reggae. That's the future of cross-cultural aesthetics. Beauty that bridges divides, that fosters empathy, that reminds us we're all part of one human family. Social media and streaming services will play a big role in this cross-cultural exchange. You can already watch a K-drama from South Korea, listen to reggaeton from Puerto Rico, and follow a fashion blogger from India on the same day. This exposure to different cultures will shape our tastes, making it more global, more inclusive, more diverse. We'll also see more museums and galleries featuring art from around the world, not just Western art. The Louvre in Paris, for example, has expanded its collection to include more art from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East in recent years, moving beyond its traditional focus on European masterpieces. The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York has launched initiatives to highlight the work of indigenous artists from North and South America, giving them a platform they've long been denied. This trend will continue, making the art world more representative of the global community. It will also challenge our assumptions about what's beautiful. We'll learn to appreciate the intricate patterns of Aboriginal dot painting from Australia, the bold colors of Mexican folk art, the minimalist elegance of Islamic calligraphy, all on their own terms, not by the standards of Western art history. Fourth prediction: aesthetics will become more integrated into our daily lives, into our workplaces, our schools, our healthcare facilities. We're already seeing this with wellness aesthetics, but it will go further. Workplaces will be designed with aesthetics in mind, not just to look good, but to boost productivity, reduce stress, and improve employee well-being. Gone are the days of drab, gray cubicles, and fluorescent lighting. The future workplace will have natural light streaming through large windows, plants that purify the air and add a touch of green, art that inspires creativity and collaboration. A 2023 study from the Harvard Business School found that employees who work in aesthetically pleasing offices are 15% more productive and 20% less stressed than those who work in drab, uninspiring spaces. Schools will use art and aesthetics to enhance learning, incorporating art into math, science, and history classes to make learning more engaging and memorable. Imagine a math class where students learn geometry by creating mandalas, a science class where students learn about ecosystems by painting murals of rainforests, a history class where students learn about the civil rights movement by creating posters inspired by the art of the era. Healthcare facilities will use art to heal, hanging paintings of nature in hospital rooms to reduce patient anxiety, playing soft music in waiting rooms to calm nervous visitors, using art therapy to help patients recover from trauma or illness. A 2021 study from the Mayo Clinic found that patients who have access to art and music during their hospital stays have shorter recovery times and report lower levels of pain. This integration of aesthetics into daily life is what we might call total aesthetics, a world where beauty isn't just something we encounter in galleries or museums, but something that surrounds us, that shapes our every experience. It's a world where aesthetics is seen as essential, not optionally, a key part of what makes life worth living. And this total aesthetics will have a profound impact on our mental health and our sleep. When we're surrounded by beauty, when our daily lives are filled with aesthetically pleasing experiences, we're calmer, happier, more fulfilled. We sleep better, we feel better, we live better, because beauty isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity for our well-being. Now, let's talk about how we can prepare ourselves for this future of aesthetics. First, we need to stay open-minded. The future of aesthetics will be different from what we're used to: AI art, cross-cultural fusion, sustainable design. We might not always understand it, we might not always like it, but we need to be willing to explore, to learn, to grow. Taste is about exposure, not perfection. The more open we are to new ideas, new styles, new cultures, the richer our aesthetic experience will be. So the next time you see a piece of AI art that confuses you, don't dismiss. Ask yourself what it's trying to say, what emotion it's trying to evoke. The next time you encounter a cultural art form you've never seen before, don't judge it by your own standards. Learn about its history, its meaning, its place in the culture that created it. Open-mindedness is the key to unlocking the beauty of the future. Second, we need to be mindful. In a world that's more connected, more digital, more fast-paced than ever before, mindfulness will be key. We need to be present in our aesthetic experiences, not just consume them passively. We need to put down our phones, to slow down, to savor the beauty around us. We need to engage with art, with design, with nature, and not just look at it. So the next time you're in a park, don't just scroll through your phone while you walk. Stop and look at the way the sunlight filters through the leaves. Listen to the sound of the birds singing. Feel the breeze on your skin. The next time you're at a museum, don't just snap a photo of a painting to post on Instagram. Stand in front of it for a few minutes. Let it wash over you. Notice how it makes you feel. Mindfulness will help us avoid the pitfalls of digital overload, of comparison, of aesthetic anxiety. It will help us connect with beauty in a deep, meaningful way. Third, we need to be creators, not just consumers. The future of aesthetics is democratic. Anyone can create art. Anyone can shape their own aesthetic experience. We don't need to be good at art. We just need to be willing to create, whether it's doodling in a sketchbook, taking photos with our phones, arranging flowers in a vase, or cooking a meal that's as beautiful as it is delicious. Creating art helps us connect with ourselves, with our emotions, with the world around us. It's a powerful tool for relaxation, for self-expression, for joy, and in a future where AI can create art, human creativity, our unique perspective, our emotions, our stories will be more valuable than ever. Because AI can create a beautiful painting, but it can't create a painting that's infused with your personal history, your memories, your heart. That's something only you can do. Let's dive deeper into the connection between aesthetics and sleep, as promised. We've talked about how aesthetics can calm our minds, reduce our stress, and improve our sleep quality. But what are some practical, easy to implement tips to incorporate aesthetics into your bedtime routine? Let's start with your bedroom. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary space that's calm, quiet, and aesthetically pleasing. Here are a few tips. First, keep it simple. Clutter is stressful. It overwhelms our senses. It makes our minds race. So clear out the clutter, put away your clothes, your books, your electronics. Keep only the essentials. A comfortable bed, a soft lamp, a few small decorative items that bring you joy, like a vase of fresh flowers, a favorite photograph, or a piece of art that makes you smile. This is the minimalist aesthetic, and it's perfect for sleep. A cluttered space leads to a cluttered mind. A simple space leads to a calm mind. You don't need to have a perfect magazine-worthy bedroom. You just need to have a space that feels like yours, a space that helps you relax. Second, choose the right colors. Colors have a powerful impact on our emotions. Warm, muted colors, soft blues, gentle greens, warm neutrals like beige and gray are calming. They lower our heart rate, reduce our stress, and prepare our bodies for sleep. Bright, bold colors, reds, oranges, neon colors are stimulating. They energize us, make us alert, and keep us awake. So paint your bedroom walls a soft color, choose bed linens in muted tones, and avoid bright, colorful decor. You can add a pop of color with a small pillow or a piece of art, but keep it subtle. Remember, the goal is to create a space that helps you wind down, not a space that excites you. Third, use soft lighting. Harsh, bright lights are stimulating. They suppress melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep. Soft, warm lighting is calming. It signals to our brains that it's time to wind down. So replace your harsh overhead light with a soft lamp on your nightstand. Use string lights for a cozy glow, or light a candle. Just make sure to blow it out before you fall asleep. Safety first. You can also use a dimmer switch to adjust the lighting to your liking as you get ready for bed. The key is to avoid blue light from electronics, which is especially disruptive to sleep. So put away your phone, your tablet, and your laptop at least an hour before bed, and stick to soft, warm lighting instead. Fourth, incorporate sensory elements. As we talked about earlier with some aesthetics, aesthetics is about all our senses, not just sight. So incorporate soft textures, fluffy pillows, a warm blanket made from natural materials like wool or cotton, soft sheets that feel good against your skin. Use calming scents: lavender, chamomile, vanilla diffused in an essential oil diffuser or sprayed on your pillow. These scents have been proven to reduce stress and improve sleep quality. Play soft music or white noise classical music by composers like Bach or Debussy, nature sounds like rain or ocean waves, or a white noise machine that drowns out distractions like traffic or noisy neighbors. The combination of soft textures, calming scents, and gentle sounds will create a sensory experience that lulls you into sleep. Fifth, create a bedtime ritual that includes art. Spend 10 to 15 minutes before bed engaging with art in a calm, low-key way. Read a poetry book, flipping through the pages and savoring the words. Look at a coffee table book of art, focusing on one painting or photograph and letting it calm your mind. Color in a coloring book. Adult coloring books are a great way to relax, as the repetitive motion of coloring is meditative. Listen to soft music, letting it wash over you and carry away the stresses of the day. This ritual signals to your brain that it's time to wind down. It's a way to transition from the chaos of the day to the calm of the night. And it's a perfect way to connect with beauty before you fall asleep. Let's do a little visualization exercise to tie this all together. Close your eyes again, no pressure. Imagine your perfect bedroom for sleep. It's simple, clutter-free. The walls are a soft, calming color, maybe a gentle blue or a warm beige. The lighting is soft, a lamp on the nightstand, casting a warm glow that makes the room feel cozy. You have soft, comfortable sheets and pillows, and a warm blanket folded at the foot of the bed. There's a faint scent of lavender in the air, and you can hear the soft sound of rain outside your window. You're sitting on the bed, holding a book of poetry. You're reading slowly, savoring each word, not worrying about finishing the book. Your mind is calm, your body is relaxed. You feel no stress, no anxiety, just peace. This is your aesthetic sanctuary, your space for sleep. Hold this image in your mind. Whenever you're having trouble falling asleep, you can come back to this image, to this feeling of calm and beauty. You can even modify it to fit your own preferences. If you prefer the sound of ocean waves instead of rain, if you prefer a different color on the walls, that's okay. This is your sanctuary, after all. Now, let's talk about some important future developments in art therapy and their impact on sleep. As we learn more about the brain, about mental health, about sleep, art therapy will become more targeted, more effective. We'll see art therapy programs specifically designed for people with insomnia, with sleep apnea, with other sleep disorders. These programs won't just be about coloring or painting, they'll be tailored to the specific needs of each patient. For example, people with insomnia who ruminate on their day's mistakes might benefit from journaling with art drawing their thoughts and feelings instead of writing them down, which can be less intimidating. People with sleep apnea who feel anxious about their condition might benefit from creating art that celebrates their bodies and their resilience. These programs will use art making to address the root causes of sleep problems, stress, anxiety, trauma, and to teach people how to calm their minds and bodies before bed. We'll also see more research on the link between art and sleep, with scientists studying how different types of art, painting, music, poetry affect our brain waves and our sleep cycles. This research will help us create even more effective art-based sleep interventions in the future. Before we move on to the fourth part of our session, let's take a moment to reflect. Think about the future of aesthetics we've been discussing: personalized, sustainable, cross-cultural, integrated into daily life. How does that future make you feel? Excited? Curious? A little overwhelmed? It's okay to feel all of those things. The future is always uncertain, but it's also full of possibility. And when it comes to aesthetics, the future is bright. It's a future where beauty is for everyone, where art is a tool for connection and healing, where aesthetics helps us live happier, healthier, more fulfilling lives. It's a future where we don't just sleep better, we live better. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's get ready to move into the final part of our session. In the fourth part, we'll wrap everything up with a few final reflections, a reminder to engage with beauty in your daily life, and a gentle send-off to help you drift off to sleep. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you for being here with me tonight. Thank you for being open-minded, for being curious, for being willing to explore the world of art and aesthetics with me. It's been a pleasure sharing this time with you. Part 4. Now, let's talk about some important future developments in art therapy and their impact on sleep. As we learn more about the brain, about mental health, about sleep, art therapy will become more targeted, more effective. We'll see art therapy programs specifically designed for people with insomnia, with sleep apnea, with other sleep disorders. These programs will use art making to address the root causes of sleep problems, stress, anxiety, trauma, and to teach people how to calm their minds and bodies before bed. We'll also see more research on the specific types of art that are most effective for sleep: slow, rhythmic drawing, soft watercolor painting, gentle collage making. These activities engage the brain in a way that's calming, not stimulating, helping to lower cortisol levels and prepare the body for rest. And the best part, these programs won't be just for people with sleep disorders, they'll be for everyone. A simple, accessible way to improve the quality of our sleep and our lives. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered tonight, shall we? We started with the basics. What? Art and aesthetics really are beyond the fancy galleries and the confusing jargon. We learned that art is about connection, about emotion, about sharing our perspective with the world. We busted those pesky myths that make us feel like we don't get it, that art has to be highbrow, that taste is something you're born with, that you need to know all the terms to appreciate beauty. We took a gentle stroll through art history, from the balanced temples of ancient Greece to the dreamlike surrealism of the 20th century, discovering how art has always been a mirror of what it means to be human. We dove into the present, talking about NFTs and digital art, quiet luxury and wellness aesthetics, social media's double-edged sword, and the power of artist therapy. We looked to the future, predicting a world where aesthetics is more personalized, more sustainable, more cross-cultural, more integrated into our daily lives. And we tied it all back to sleep, that quiet, essential act that so many of us struggle with. learning how aesthetics can be our ally in finding calm and rest. Now, I have a little challenge for you, nothing too hard, just a way to bring tonight's ideas into your daily life. Tomorrow, I want you to find one small moment of beauty, one tiny aesthetic experience, and savor it. It could be the way the sunlight hits your morning coffee mug, turning the liquid gold. It could be the sound of a bird singing outside your window, a melody you've never really listened to before. It could be the feel of your favorite sweater against your skin, soft and warm and familiar. It could be a doodle you make on a piece of paper. No pressure, no goal, just lines and shapes and color. The key is to be present in that moment, to not take a photo of it, to not share it on social media, to just be there, feeling it, enjoying it, letting it fill you with calm. That's the magic of aesthetics, isn't it? It's not about the big, grand things. It's about the small, quiet moments that make life feel worth living. And while we're on the topic of sharing, wait a second, hold that thought about not sharing for a moment. If you enjoyed tonight's session, if any of these ideas resonated with you, if you feel like you learned something new or found a little bit of calm in this chaotic world, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this with a friend who might be struggling with sleep, who might feel intimidated by art, who might just need a little reminder to slow down and appreciate the beauty around them. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got so much more coming up in this Living-ology series. Next week, we're diving into the psychology of habits, how to build routines that stick, that make you feel good, that help you sleep better. The week after that, we're talking about the art of eating, how to savor your food, how to listen to your body, how eating can be an aesthetic experience too. We've got finance, we've got exercise, we've got medicine, we've got computer science all wrapped up in that cozy, conversational, life knowledge plus package that we love. So subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a session. Trust me, you won't want to. Now, let's wind down, shall we? Let's take a deep breath together. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Good. One more time, inhale, hold, exhale. Feel that your shoulders are relaxing, your mind is slowing down, the noise of the day is fading away. That's the power of presence, of calm, of the aesthetic experience we've been talking about. Tonight, as you lie in bed, as you close your eyes, I want you to bring that small moment of beauty with you. The coffee mug, the bird's song, the soft sweater, the doodle. Hold it in your mind, gentle and warm. Let it be your anchor, your reminder that there is beauty in the world, that there is calm to be found, that you deserve to rest, to sleep, to dream. You don't have to be an art critic to appreciate beauty. You don't have to be a sleep expert to find rest. You just have to be you, open, curious, willing to slow down and look. Art and aesthetics are not about being perfect. They're about being human. They're about feeling, about connecting, about finding peace in a world that's always rushing. And sleep? Sleep is the ultimate act of self-care, the ultimate aesthetic experience, quiet, peaceful, restorative, beautiful. So tonight, as you drift off to sleep, remember this: beauty is everywhere. It's in the art on the walls and the art in your heart. It's in the big, grand masterpieces and the small, quiet moments. It's in you, in the way you see the world, in the way you choose to live your life, and that beauty is enough. It's more than enough. Thank you for joining me tonight, for being here, for being open, for being you. I hope you sleep well, that you dream beautiful dreams, that you wake up tomorrow feeling calm and refreshed and ready to find that next small moment of beauty. And I'll see you next time here on Living-ology, your home for Life Knowledge Plus, your sanctuary4.com, your guide to a more beautiful, more restful, more fulfilling life. Sweet dreams, everyone. Sleep tight.